Wake up out a dreamer, huh? Grab a lighter, huh? Something like a steamer, huh? Bong ripper, huh? Make sure it's cleaner, huh? Smoke session, huh? Nigga, what you mean, and I be flowing. I get so high, fuck around and never come down. I get so high, I get so high, and I be flowing. I get so high, fuck around and never come down. I get so high.
Welcome to Bad News Bear. Yeah, and we're going to be going over the Cupid's knockout. Pretty great card, actually.
I'm excited for the Midwest. This is a lot of top talent. It's actually a few of our up-and-coming pros we put a lot of time in, been working with off and on for years, and we're ready to exploit some people and really get to the next platform, get to the next step.
Yeah, so, and it's looking good. It's down at Mountaineer Casino. Great venue. Great.
Sold out already.
Yeah, great promotion.
Yeah, you come later on at night and possibly get in. People will be leaving because it's 21 bouts actually on, so that's a huge card.
Yes, it is.
Huge.
So we're going to go ahead and break down each of the fights. I think we're going to start with the main pros and kind of go down. Some of these guys we're not actually going to talk about. I did reach out to everybody on Messenger. We're going to pretty much just cover the people that responded to us, or the ones that we know
actually known or actually competed with or actually worked with.
Yes. So, all right. So,
you want to start at the main event?
Or doesn't matter.
We'll start. Let's go all the way back to the beginner.
You start way at the beginning.
We'll start break it down, because we know all the top guys, straight up.
Yeah, and that way we can get pretty much everybody that responded. So now we have Victor Guerrero.
Yeah.
Okay, so
old school.
He's old school. Actually, he was around. Oh my goodness. Knopf's and even before.
Yeah, he's been around for at least 10 years.
Yeah, and he's been training everywhere with just about everybody, and he's actually
he just loves it.
Yeah, and he's a good warrior. He's always been a tough fighter. His record doesn't, I don't think, show as good as he truly is. So
yeah, because he steps up and fights actually people that really can fight. He doesn't duck people. So.
Mm-hmm. So Victor was actually saying that he just really kind of wanted to reach out to Nicole, who put on the cards, tell her thanks, and the promotion. And he's a very respectful guy. So this is actually going to be a pretty good fight. He's going against Michael Capone.
Yeah.
So, and Michael Capone is saying that he likes his gym, Winchester MMA, and boxing, and he's really looking forward to representing them. He's also very proud of his gym because it has given him direction and purpose in life.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, and that's actually kind of a common theme you're going to see across the board here, is a lot of these fighters are using, even though it's a mixed martial art, it's very much like a
guidance in life.
Yeah, and it's really, they're learning what and how to handle life. They're learning a philosophy. And so
saved my life, for real.
Yeah, I think everybody that gets into the martial arts, I mean, they learn something. They learn about who they are. They learn about life in general. And that's what he was saying. So he's really looking forward to representing, and then in the future trying to show that other people and give some guidance to others. Now, do you know Ryan McDermott?
No, he's one of the ones. I have not. I don't know nothing about him. But
Bobby Matter, he's coming in. He's been out for quite some time. He says 6 years. So he's saying nobody remembers who he is or what he does, but he's all right with that. And
that's somebody dangerous, taking that many years off and coming back.
You kind of worry about ring rust with that. So,
but if he's putting the time in and put a lot in, by that time he could be a purple belt, brown belt, or something.
Or
put a lot of work in.
And depending on. So he actually is going to come out, and he's saying that he's going to have the fight to look at in this card. So that's pretty bold statement, but I think it's pretty good. So now our next one is Andre Saunders, and
I know both these gentlemen quite
well.
And
then Benjamin Wilford.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think of them? Wilford didn't get back with me, but Sanders did. So.
Well, Ben's he's actually from New Orleans. He was a state champ. I know him actually pretty well. He's from our competitor gym, rival gym. You know, got to respect strong style. He's tough. He's been off in a couple years. He lost his title fight, his last title fight, to a very tough competitor. But he's back, and Andre actually fought our fighter Luke Chokan for our championship at Honor, and got the decision. Luke making no excuses. Luke broke his arm in the fight, and he fought through. You know, lost the decision. You know, whatever. We learned from it. He's a very humble guy. I hope nothing but best for him. He's very humble. A good camp out of Michigan.
Yeah. And so
Nash Gym.
Yeah, and so he's saying that his brand is Team Conquest, and he's saying that a portion of the proceeds from him and all that will go to young athletes for the help paying of the sports-related expenses.
I'm actually excited for this one.
Yeah, so this actually should be.
This is probably 2 of the top 10 best flyweights in the Midwest.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what I noticed about this card. This card's actually
stacked.
Is a very stacked card.
We're going to be lining up with a couple of these guys.
Yeah.
If we have a couple of guys, we're going to be lining up with these guys.
And what's neat about this card, too, is it's kind of the who's who of the Midwest, basically.
Yeah, deep. It's deep.
All right, so Sam Daviduck.
Yeah, Sammy's a good guy, man. Helped him in the past. He's actually, he was here last week, you know, getting some work with me and the team. Sam's a good guy, wild guy. Youngstown boy, Youngstown Boardman guy. He's crazy. He's a scrapper. I'm looking forward for him to. He's looking, you know, a little better. He's been really focusing on his cardio and getting his life together and his mind together from his last fight.
So he's saying he's really working his cardio, so he's not going to
gas.
He's not going to gas. So, which is, you know, that's one thing that you have when you are fighting somebody. Yeah, and if you're fighting somebody, that's the one thing that you can think your camp's the best, but you know the only thing that you can truly do is make sure you have enough gas in the tank to take you all through the rounds.
Mentally, physically, your weight cut or your cardio. That's
So do you know this Tristan Graham any? He's going to be facing.
I'm trying to remember. I know the name. I'm pretty sure he's fight up a couple weight classes. And I think he fights out of the camp out in Pittsburgh. I think David Duck was telling me, and I'm trying to remember what gym. He might be at a Third Element.
Okay.
He might be at a Third Element. I think that's what Sammy told me last week.
Okay.
Yeah. Third Element.
And I think there's actually a couple of Third Element guys here.
We're fighting one of them.
Yes. Cody Law and Devin Jeffries, they never got back with me. So what are you thinking about this?
Cody Law, I know, is a Division II national champ.
Okay.
I've watched him fight on a few cards. I came out and helped people out in the past. When I went out to PA for Pinnacle for Drew Dixon, he fought. He's maybe a 2-3 time Division II national champ, multiple PA state champ, I'm pretty sure. Devin, plus he has pretty good hands.
Okay.
I actually know Cody. I think he fights at Fight Factory. Wrestling Factory, excuse me.
Okay.
Matt Factory, excuse me. I'm sorry.
Factory.
Too much caffeine. Sorry, as always. But he has got pretty good hands. He seems like they're doing a great job on him. He's a good prospect. A couple more fights, and he's definitely going to see him in the pro ranks. He definitely has the potential to be a very, very high level pro. This Devin Jeffries.
Yeah.
It looks like he's a journeyman. He's 6-4, but you know, a 6-4 willing to fight a prospect like that, he probably has. He's feeling that he has something to prove, or obviously he's not going to go down swinging. So I think he's going to go out there like a barn burner. I think it'll be a good fight.
Yes. So we're going on to Clevon Hill and Jeremy Sakuta. So I'm probably killing everybody's names, so just bear with me. Sorry if I did. Clevon, he's 3-1. He's talking about that he's never been out of the third round. He's finishing.
I know.
He's finishing his opponents, and he's planning on trying it again, and he's getting ready to turn pro sometime this year.
He's a pretty tough guy. He fights out of Team CMA with Andy. I've watched him fight a few times over at Yankee Lake. I'm trying to remember if I seen him down at the Arnold Classic. I've seen him a couple times. I fought him at least 2 or 3 times. He's a very long, lanky guy, really athletic. I really don't know about his ground game. He has fire in the hands. You know, most CMA guys do. They're pretty scrappy on the stand up. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, this should be a pretty good fight. I personally really don't know too much about this Jeremy guy. I'm looking at what he was reading. Blah, 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 blah.
So he's a fighter just from his response about that. He loves the sport of MMA. Loves
he's 4-8 and he's stepping into a prospect. So
and he loves that when you hear that door shut and it's just him and the opponent getting ready to bang. And
Freedom.
Yeah, and he's also very respectful of his opponents, which is good.
Yeah, man. I respect it.
And I do like the line that he did. We are going to go punch each other in the face and see who is better at it.
Hey, Coach Walsh, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm actually here at the gym to learn some stuff today.
Okay. I'm here to help. Hopefully I get it right.
I'm curious about like the origin of Jiu-Jitsu itself.
Depending on how far back you want to go, I mean, we can go all the way back to the Stone Ages.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, there's actually pictures of people, cave paintings in like North Africa and Spain and all, of people actually doing moves that we do today.
That's awesome.
And then you see it in like ancient Greece. You see like, some of the urns, and you see people doing moves. You see that in India, in Egypt, and across. So humanity's been doing the same stuff because the human body hasn't changed.
So since the beginning of time,
since the beginning, when you had two boys there, that's the start of wrestling. So
people like to play punch face.
Yeah, and so it just is what it is. So and that's how you train warriors. So everybody calls whatever system of, whether it's wrestling or Swai Jiao or whatever, it's all basically a grappling base. Okay, and that's just how humans fight. So now what happened was Jiu-Jitsu is a Japanese word, and usually a gentle way and all, and that's what the samurai class actually did. You see that in the Japanese Middle Ages, and then where everything's being codified and written, each clan was getting its own style. So, and that's where Jiu-Jitsu came from, basically, and it's from all these older styles and people refining things and rediscovering things and all. Eventually, then you get to the more modern age in like the late 1800s, early 20th century. You have Kano, who was a school teacher, saw that the old forms of Jiu-Jitsu were dying out because the samurai class was outlawed, and so people weren't training it anymore. And so he took the safest things and incorporated that into a sport, basically, and it means the gentle way, judo. But before that name, it was just known as Kano's Jiu-Jitsu. So that's where actually the Brazilian ended up with the IU Jiu-Jitsu spelling as the older thing, because what happened was Kano had taught a bunch of people and was as ambassadors to the world, and one of those was Maida or a variation of that, depending on where you are and how you pronounce it. So what happened, he was in Europe, he was in North America, he was in South America, he was just central, all over the country, all over the world, basically. And he was doing basically early MMA fights, early grappling, pro wrestling when it was actually had a component that was still real. And the Brazilians really enjoyed that, and they liked that. And a carnival owner was known for putting on these fights. The Gracie family ended up going, the patriarch of the family thought, oh, wow, this is amazing. and I want my kids to learn that. So he hired him to teach the Gracie children. And so then that actually ended, so Maeda was doing Kano's Jiu-Jitsu, and that's how Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu actually came about.
So it's more of a samurai art form?
Well, what happened was originally, so the idea is karate tended to be more of what the peasants did.
Okay.
Because they did not have armor on. So peasants fighting peasants, so you can hit somebody in the stomach or in the head and it doesn't hurt your hand. The samurai had armor, so it was much harder to just go and punch somebody.
Right.
But no matter how good your armor is, the weak spot's always the joint.
Right.
Okay, so because you still got to move your arm or whatever, so they did a lot of leg locks because your knee still works, your elbow. So they would attack joints predominantly. They would also go for strangulations because those are all places where the armor wasn't.
And that's where it has to move.
It has to move, so that's where, that's where that art. So yes, all jiu-jitsu actually comes from combat.
Okay.
So
now in combat today, is it something that's still taught like in a military setting?
Oh yes, definitely. Army combatives are very much a jiu-jitsu base. It gets a lot more closer to like an MMA type thing, but incorporating multiple aspects. But yes, I mean, everybody still does. I believe the Tokyo police, they have to be a black belt in judo.
Really?
To actually be on the police force. I think some of their special ops, you have to be a black belt in judo in order to.
That's crazy. I never knew that.
Yeah. So I mean, and you see that. I mean, even today, a lot of people are consulted in to teach military people and their police, all this stuff. So yes, it's actively being used in real life situations.
The Gracies brought it to the attention of the world, like their style of jiu-jitsu with the UFC in the early 90s, right?
Yes. So getting back to, Maeda taught the Gracies. Okay, so from that, all the Gracies went to and started their system. And then, so judo at that time started to change, with the Brazilian culture, two, with strengths and weaknesses of each person. So, and then, yes, in the early 90s, they had an idea, UFC, they brought that in and it exploded, and at the time, everybody thought it was cool. I definitely didn't think it was going to be anything. So
really, yeah. I mean, it's clearly exploded into this whole world of like mixed martial arts.
Yes.
Now, the Gracie style of jiu-jitsu is not the only style, though. It's not the style that you were taught in, correct?
Correct. So what happened was that when the Gracies were learning, there's another individual that also was learning jiu-jitsu under Maeda, and that was Franca. And so Franca ended up, so they all learned at the same time. Franca then taught somebody called Oswald Fada. Okay, so now there is a secondary line that's a non-Gracie line that traces all the way back to the same origins.
Okay.
And that's usually known as a Fada line, our lineage. There's several GT fights, and then you also have like Novo Unao. My affiliates under me and all is the Novum Unionum, which is a Latin for New Union Jiu-Jitsu. But so yes, they all have that line off of Fada. Now it's interesting because a lot of people say, "Oh, it's not Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu if it is not Gracie Jiu-Jitsu." And so,
well, then why call it Gracie Jiu-Jitsu if it's
but that's their brand. That's
right.
What they're bringing to the table. They're bringing their style, their flair, their seasoning to the art form.
So really at the end of the day, there's these key points that it has to hit to be considered jiu-jitsu, and they just put their twist on it.
Well, it needs to be considered Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now, there's actually a local gym, and they're actually a Machado line. And I actually had an argument not with them, with one of the guys, he's actually a purple belt in another gym, and he's like, well, you're not Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm like, well, yes, I am. It's a FADA line. And he said, Gracie only. And then it's just like, well, what about the Machado, who were cousins of the Gracies? And they're like, they're not the right type of Gracie, And
what does that even mean?
So, well, you know what it is? It's everybody thinks about, this is who we're following, and and I've seen it, and actually they have the fit about, Hicks and Gracie. No, they're not the right type of Gracie either. And I'm like, it's really kind of interesting to see. It gets very cliquish, very clannish.
Yeah.
Once again, and then so everybody brings their style. The FADA line were known for their leg locks. The outlawing of a lot of leg locks early on in Jiu-Jitsu actually came from FADA because their gym, the FADA Academy actually challenged the Gracie Academy in 1951. And so they went, it was a total of 20 matches. And out of the 20 matches, FADA actually won 19. His academy over the Gracie Academy, which didn't sit very well. In 52, then it was another challenge between the two gyms. And they ended up competing again. The FADA actually, out of the 10 matches, won 9 out of the 10. And it didn't, once again, didn't go well. The Gracies at the time were definitely in the more affluent area. They were teaching to politicians, wealthy people with basically money, power, all that. And so FADA was teaching in the barrio. He was teaching in the slums. He was teaching to these people, the disenfranchised people. If you were handicapped, FADA was teaching you. If you were poor or you weren't beautiful, he was teaching you. And so what happened in 52 when they actually had the second challenge, they would yell "Sabotore" or shoemaker whenever they were catching the leg locks, because they were known for their leg locks, because being a shoemaker was a poor person's profession.
Right.
But yeah, every time they'd go for the leg lock, they would hit it. And actually to this day, you're not allowed to reap a straight ankle lock in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournaments, and they say that it goes way back to that 52, to that matchup.
Rise up this morning, smile.
Next fight we have is Mason DeLeese versus
I know both these guys.
James Jeffries. So they're actually very tough
both
guys.
of them.
Yeah, Jeffries, of course, saying that he's the baddest 125 on the planet.
He's interesting. I've been at both his fights.
So, and he's planning on trying to make it another first round finish. So, there's no lack of humility there. So
yeah, you gotta respect the flyweights. You know what I'm saying? The lightweight guys got a little extra, jump in them.
Yeah.
But Mason DeLeese, I have a numerous round respect. Luke Chokan, we fought him. We won a split decision. About a year ago, I think it was a year ago. Mason is he's a long, lanky 125 prospect that's skilled in all aspects. He's a good dude. I respect the stout camp. They're really tough. They always come to fight, and they don't lay down. I mean, they come fight prepared in every aspect of the game.
So this should be the barn burner again.
Oh, this could be some leather getting thrown.
Yeah, and then I love actually the lighter weights because just the speed. I mean, heavies are always neat because they're dangerous.
It's a nice
you can
PA
always get a
scrap.
knockout, but
Both guys from PA. It's gonna be a PA scrapper.
yeah, but yeah, these lightweights, they are busy and they're going to have a lot of activity going on.
I'm pretty sure this won't go to decision.
Okay, Joshua
I know both
Visuki,
these guys too.
and then Cole March. So they're both one's 2-0, one's 1-0. I know of Joshua. He finished his last fight. He finished it in the second round with 11-second win due to strikes. Every one of these guys, whether they respond to me or not, or we're going to give them all kinds of props because they're getting in the cage. They're willing to fight. They're willing to.
Warriors.
They're warriors, and definitely everybody on this card. All these are alpha males, and that's why people come to see MMA. Now we're going to go Jeremy Levage.
Yep, I worked with him before.
And then Quincy McCombs.
I know Quincy actually competed and cornered against Quincy twice already. I know both these guys pretty well.
Okay. Yeah, so Jeremy's pretty much kind of a mixed fighter, and he's winning from across the board. It looks like
he's a heavy-handed brawler, very athletic. He's a tough kid,
So one of the things that Quincy said right out the get-go about how humble he really is. And so I told him we'll make sure that we let everybody know how incredibly humble he tells everybody he is.
Right, 100%.
But he's a good guy.
Oh, he's a good guy, 100%.
So now we're up to Roosevelt Archie versus Sean Rawl. So
I know both these guys real well.
Actually, Roosevelt Archie I've seen since the beginning. So when he was first starting, we had some fighters that looked like we were going to be fighting him early in his amateur career. Actually, his record doesn't look that great. I'm not sure what happened there because
he's just taking fights to get paid. Seems like.
I don't know, but he can bang. He's a warrior. He's been working hard, he says.
He fought Rel years ago on the same card to fight. Yeah.
So, because he was supposed to fight Isaiah, one of the guys I had worked with.
Right.
So, so he's saying that he's been working, getting his skills all sharpened, all those tools. And so this should be pretty good. He's also gave a prayer out for everybody that,
respectful,
and which is nice. So he wanted the God watch over all the fighters, and they stayed healthy. There are no injuries, and that they'd walk in healthy and leave healthy, and continue their journey. So I was very happy with that. He seems, when I've met him, he seems like a very gracious, nice guy. Now, this Sean Rawl guy. Okay, let's talk about. He didn't respond to me, so I think he's an absolute mystery.
Sean's a good guy. I'm excited that he's bought in, and I've been helping with Sean ever since.
So you actually started with Sean, right?
Oh, he was with me. I started back in the day. We'd build off the Human Weapon and Brick House with like Devontae Smith and UFC.
Okay.
And Jarrell Hodge, Darnell Pettis. We were all together. I actually cornered Sean his first fight. He took a couple L's, kind of like he's starting out with his pro career because he wants to do things his way. Yeah. But now, Sean, came to us and we talked to him. We're just talking logical about things, and now he's gonna turn this thing around. I'm honestly really confident this could be a knockout or a finish for us. He's looking better than he's ever been.
Okay.
The end of his amateur career, I think he went on a 5 or 6 fight win streak.
Okay.
And he lost a lot of these fights, a lot of his pro fights. But this, oh man, I don't even know how to say it to even keep it clean. But his record should be way better than it is. And he knows it, and I know it. So I'm looking.
And then he's got a good camp. I've seen him in here. He's training.
He's training hard.
He's
putting the work in.
And he's willing to do the JITS tournaments. He's willing to do.
Tell him how you went. You took him to the tournament.
So it was kind of nice. I always like to see the fighters that are willing to broaden what they do, because everything is a
platform.
It's a platform, and it's a training tool. So there's times when you need to be at a jiu-jitsu tournament. There's times when you need to be in a boxing tournament. There's, each of these things, you're sharpening your skill sets, and that's a very, very important thing.
All about repetition.
Yeah. Okay, so Brandon Burr and Bradley McGar.
Yeah. Actually, the last couple of fights, I know all these guys real well just because of our prospects and fighting and just being around the last couple of years. These next 3 pro fights are pretty legit. Brandon Burr actually fought Luke early in his career. He has heavy hands. He's a tough guy. He's a strong style product. He wrestled for Mayfield High School. I don't think he ever placed in state. I know he was at least a state qualifier. So he does have some, some wrestling pedigree.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy hands, boxing. There's Bradley McGarr. He's a tough guy too. I'm trying to think. I think his name got popped up a few times between some of our lightweights before, just never hashed out to actually step up with them.
And they're both coming in as this
debuts.
Pro debut guys.
Yeah,
so.
And they accepted the fight. So obviously, both of them obviously think they got something.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be a banger.
And then Burr's coming from a good camp. I mean, strong style. Love them, hate them, whatever.
Yeah.
But they are tough people, and I'm friends with all their head coaches and all, and good guys. And they usually
win.
Yeah, they do, definitely. So this one actually should be really interesting because it's 2 debut guys coming out, and they're getting to play with their new
tools.
Yeah, these are their new tools. So we see if they've actually sharpened them up nice enough, or they're still going to think about fighting like they were at amateur. Especially the time difference makes a big deal too. Do they have the gas tanks and for these long fights?
Very true. You gotta make adjustments.
Corey Breckner versus Nolan Stahl. So yes. So I see a shirt over there that says, who is this? Say? Breckner. Okay.
This fight's been in the works for a long time. It just makes sense now. It just came up for both of them. Corey, I took Corey. If people don't know, Corey's actually deaf. Corey's a very, very high prospect. He won 2 national championships for me. He's actually boxed for me before and actually beat a Gold Glove champion in his boxing match. He's good hands, good wrestling, solid jiu-jitsu, good takedown defense. He's a good scrambler, heavy hands, especially at 125.
So he's going to come in as a strong 125.
Oh, he's a very, very big 125. He's in that top 1-2% at 125. He's big.
Okay.
He's big.
Nolan Stahl's coming in. He's got a judo background. I believe he's a brown belt in judo. I think he's been training heavily in jiu-jitsu as of late. I saw him up at the Grappling Industries. He was up there. He looked very good. So he's been really training hard for this fight. He wants to finish this fight. He doesn't say how, but he says he wants to finish it. And he feels that he's the better rounded fighter. He comes out, he's saying all kinds of respect for Corey, which is good. So, once again, that's the thing I notice about this card is everybody's having pretty good respect for their opponents. I don't know what they're saying on
Twitter
or Facebook or Instagram or whatever, or even MySpace. So that actually should be a really good fight. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, 100%.
So now we're to the main event. So Ethan Hayes versus Jason Mullen.
I know both these guys really, really well. Actually, Ethan Hayes, man, he's a very humble guy. I actually, one of my old fighters, the outlaw Tyler Collins, we fought him. It was Tyler's last amateur fight.
Okay.
And, we got a decision over him. Ethan's a hard worker, great boxing, great jiu-jitsu, humble dude.
And he's been going everywhere training.
He's down
for
to
this.
fight. He's down. He's down.
Yeah.
He's down. I wish nothing but the best for this guy. And then he trains out of a great camp, dude, All-American, with Brown and Bosleys and all those guys.
Yeah.
He's well-rounded. He's actually a martial artist. He's actually teaches his own classes and students. Meet him talk. He's a good dude. I have nothing but love for him.
So he's
great guy.
So for this camp, I hear he's trained at the Mat Factory. He's gotten sparring over at Stouts in their academy. And then actually he was saying that he just went down to America's Top Team and the last week and started doing some grappling with that. Did Baga and the team down there in the Weston location. He's actually had a very, very busy camp.
That's awesome. That's good to hear.
Yeah. So now Jason, he's saying he's coming out ready for war. So.
That's what Jason does. He fights. He's a Youngstown Team CMA product. I believe he's on a 2-fight win streak. He I think as he finishes, I mean, I can't remember how many between his 3 pro fights and his amateur. I can't think how high he gets finished or he finishes his opponent. He goes in. I really don't think this fight probably not going to decision.
Okay.
I'm about 90% sure it's not going to go to decision.
Yeah, and so
somebody's getting knocked out or subbed.
Yeah, and so he was saying, he's actually once again very respectful of his opponent, saying that he's looking forward to this fight because, he's fighting a tough guy, and he's saying definitely watch this one. It's going to be a good one.
We are the MMA Tribune. We cover, the Midwest. So, I mean, we get different platforms with Savage Multimedia, sponsoring, platforming, building brands, and things that we do.
And then one of our kind of mantras here is we always talk about world domination.
I believe something's happening.
And we kind of, and there's also proof in the pudding. We were producing some very nice, very lucky guys. So, and what was it Napoleon said? It's better to be lucky than good. However, but we are at least consistently lucky.
Consistent, very consistent. On that, Coach?
All right. Take care, so.
There you go.
Everyone take care. Actually, once again, the fight card is sold out at the Mountaineer.
But I think by about halfway in the card, people will be airing out because of the holiday and stuff. I think people will be able to buy their way in.
And go there, gamble,
have
have fun down
time.
there. I hear they have a good buffet
I
bar
guarantee it's
too.
gonna be a lot of famous people and other people down there rocking and rolling. It's gonna be a good show. I'm excited for it.
So, all right, everyone, peace out. Take
Let's
care.
go.
Thinks he's lost.